Yesterday we had a really cool and unique experience. We got the opportunity to go to a Ghanaian wedding, and the entire day from start to finish was about 14 hours. It was very long, parts of it were very tiring, but it was a really neat experience. So I'm just going to sort of go through the three major components of the wedding and sort of talk about our experience. So the first part was what they call the engagement, which used to be considered more of the traditional Ghanaian wedding. And this is when the families come together and they sort of have a negotiation process and decide whether or not the bride and the groom will actually be allowed to get married. So we get to the house and there's lots of family, lots of talking, lots of eating, of course. And the groom's family comes in and they go around and they greet everyone. Greetings seem to be very important here. So not just, hey everybody, but going by and shaking every single individual's hand before they are seated. Then the groom arrived and his family was sort of greeted by the bride's family. And there's this sort of negotiation process. So they bring in all of these gifts and the family has to decide whether or not the gifts are acceptable. And then they need to go and find the bride. So even though they kind of know where she is, they go through this process of trying to figure out where she is, and they finally bring her in, and she's got her entourage, and they're all singing, and they're clapping, and they all come in. And the parents ask the bride if she is willing to accept these gifts as well. She tells them yes. They ask her, do you want this man to be your husband? She says yes. They go through all these different traditions and customs, which are really neat to see. So after that, then they have sort of the presentation of the gifts. And there were several envelopes, which I'm pretty sure were full of money, that the sort of facilitator goes through and then again asks the family if these are acceptable, and they seem to accept them. Then they have this time where the elders in the room were giving the couple advice. So they really just gave them words of wisdom. All of this, most of it was being spoken in Twi, which is one of the languages spoken here in Ghana. So very little bit was in English. So since we were sitting with Rita, who's the cousin of the bride, we were sort of honorary members of the bride's family, and we actually got gifts as well. So here's my gift bag, which is fun. And let's see what we have in here. This cute little dish towel. Actually, it's a handkerchief, which is a big deal because it's so warm and humid. People are constantly wiping their brows. So it has their names, Francis and Mary, and the date. So that's that. Another towel. So there's that. Fanta! Cannot go wrong with this stuff. I love drinking Fanta when I'm here. Delicious, and orange is my favorite flavor. And food. So I believe that these are sort of a kind of a donut type food, and then this looks like a meat patty. So yeah, that was really cool. They gave us gifts, and then all of it came in this cute little heart-shaped basket, which is really adorable as well. So yay. So after the traditional engagement ceremony was over, which again involved some more prayers, some more songs, lots of greeting and talking with the family, lots of laughing as well. Some of the jokes obviously we couldn't get in on because it was in a different language, but just the general feeling in the room was very happy, very excited. Then we were going to transfer over from the house to the church, where they were going to have more of the sort of American style wedding. The transfer itself was pretty much just sitting in the car and waiting for the bride's family to be ready, and that was a pretty hefty chunk of time. So we sort of just waited around until it was time to go over to the church. When we got there, the bride and the groom were going to enter together, and then all of her family were sort of her entourage. So since we were honorary inductees to the family, Lindsay and I also got to walk with the processional, which was really fun. We got to be at a wedding that we'd only found out about probably about 12 hours before, so that was kind of cool. We just walked in and found our seats, and the bride and groom were seated in a special area with a beautiful arch with florals. And then came part two, which was the church wedding. So the bride and the groom were introduced. There was a bit of impromptu dancing. Again, just a very celebratory atmosphere. They exchanged their vows and they were blessed. The bride's father gave her away and they exchanged rings. And of course, they had their lovely kiss, which everyone was super excited about. Just lots of cheering, lots of shouting. Everyone was just really pumped about this celebration. Then the bride and groom went away to a separate room to sign their certificate. They came back, and that's when we had a second offering, and they went around and they collected an offering specifically for the couple, considering that this wedding, it's a really large expense, so they just wanted to bless the couple. And then after all of that went down, they decided to take photos. The reception was a really short distance away, so everyone just walked over, and it was held in the courtyard of the school. Lots of tents set up, a nice color scheme. It was really fun and festive looking, and the MC sort of introduced us to the party, and the first thing he said was that we would be obviously having some food. So we were excited. It had been a long time since we'd eaten anything, but the time in between when he said we were going to eat and when we actually ate was a bit longer than I expected. Again, it was a lot of introducing of people, some songs. The band was great. The band was so energetic. They were bursting out into song constantly. People would just jump up and dance if they wanted to, which was really fun. The bride and the groom, they cut their cake and they actually sort of sliced the cake up small and served it before we had lunch, which was kind of nice. We had a little something to munch on. So then, of course, we did eat dinner, and we had lots and lots of food. There was the jollof rice, chicken, fish, a couple different types of stews. There was also rice and peas. So just a lot of food. Everyone ate, everyone enjoyed it. And sort of during the food and a little bit after, there was some dancing and they had a toast. So they went around and gave everyone champagne and we toasted the couple. And then the band really sort of let loose and everyone just danced and just had a really, really great time. As people sort of started to drift away a little bit and guests were kind of leaving, there were also other people that were not originally at the ceremony who just sort of started coming in. Again, this is in the courtyard of the school, so there were a lot of school children that kind of appeared, and no one seemed to have any problem with it. It was great. They just also. After that, we went ahead and left, swung by the mall, stayed in there for a while. Really, really beautiful mall called West Hills. In the area that we were in, and just hung out in there for a little while. Then on the way back, unfortunately, we were stuck in traffic, which kind of delayed our time getting back. And then by the time we pulled up back to the house, it was right at, I want to say 8:30, 8:45. So from 7 in the morning until 8:45, 9 o'clock that evening, it was an extensive day, a fun day, a tiring day, a learning day. It was a very great day. I enjoyed it, and now I have a really great idea of what Ghanaian weddings are like. Made some really fun memories. So that's all for now. Stay tuned. There will be lots more information and videos to come. Bye.